Well, they've been given a reprieve until Saturday, but what's next for the Occupy Toronto movement? Protesters held the meetings throughout the day on their plans for the future, but one thing remains certain. They remain in St. James Park, and that's where our Jeff Semple is live tonight. Jeff.
That's where I remain as well, Angry, by the looks of things. And as you can see, things are pretty quiet here right now in St. James Park. Many of these protesters admit they're still a little bleary-eyed after what was a pretty raucous party here that went well into the night yesterday. Occupy Toronto celebrating a legal victory, albeit a temporary one, with that judge granting an injunction, effectively allowing these protesters to stay legally in this park at least for the next few days while he can until he can hear some more arguments from both sides. And protesters say that they admit that even though they knew that those eviction orders were coming, the whole thing did catch them a little bit off guard. So they now say they feel like this has bought them a few more days to get prepared. And this morning, in fact, a number of those protesters met with the dean of the church, St. James Cathedral here, as well as the city councillor for the area. They emerged from the church after a couple of hours of meeting with a message for Toronto Police and the mayor, Rob Ford. Take a listen.
Our wish, our aim, and I can say from the cathedral, our prayer, is that this will be resolved peacefully, without violence, and that the same measured approach that we have followed from the beginning of the Occupy Toronto in St. James Park will continue.
Now, the arguments will be made from both the city and on behalf of Occupy Toronto protesters on Friday, and the judge is expected to make a final decision on Saturday. And that judge, for anyone interested, is Justice David Brown. He's considered to be a pretty conservative judge with a rather conservative interpretation of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and he is also, incidentally, a man who built his successful career as a lawyer down on Bay Street in the financial district, which of course happens to be one of the targets of all of this Occupy Toronto protest. But he's also the same man who granted that injunction yesterday, buying this protest at least a few more days, and it will be up to him on Saturday whether this is allowed to continue into next week. Reporting live in St. James Park, I'm Jeff Semple.
Thank you, Jeff.